Mailbag time here on the Cleveland Browns Report, answering questions that you guys asked over on our community tab. And our first question comes in from Evan Keeter, who says, what about looking into Cordarrelle Patterson? Can be our punt returner / running back / wide receiver if needed. Okay. Well, let's throw on some Cordarrelle Patterson stats from his time in Atlanta while I answer this question, because he definitely brings a lot of special teams value. Now, I will remind people he is dealing with a soft tissue injury. He was MIA throughout the entirety of training camp in the preseason. He almost went on short-term IR to start the year. So I don't think Andrew Berry is rushing to trade for a guy that's currently dealing with a soft tissue injury. But if we have learned anything from Andrew Berry's time as a GM, he has no problem fixing problems. So if the kick return or punt return game is lacking after a couple of weeks, maybe then he picks up the phone and gives the Falcons a call. He did it last year with Deion Jones. But for now, I think he's going to be staying put, at least for the start of the year. And he wants to see how DPJ and Jerome Ford can do in the return man duties. But let me know what your thoughts are. Should the Browns trade for Cordarrelle Patterson? Yes or no? He's been linked to the Browns in a bunch of Bleacher Report articles and whatnot, but there's no real hard-hitting news out there that the Browns are doing some homework on Patterson. I think for now you should stay put, wait and see how the start of the year goes. If you need a return man, sure, make a call after a few weeks, but I don't want to just start jumping to conclusions before week one even really kicks off. Next question coming in from Epic Jet. Let's say Njoku doesn't improve from his decent season last year of nearly 650 yards and 4 touchdowns. He regresses back to having drop problems or can't stay healthy. Do you think the Browns would try and trade him since next year there are some good draft tight end prospects? Okay, so I'm on board with the possibility of Njoku not being the top 10 tight end that he is being paid to do, right? We haven't actually really seen a true top 10. We've seen top 10 seasons. We haven't seen top 5 seasons. I think we can all agree on that. Now, when it comes to trading him, if you were to trade him before June 1st of 2024, so after this season and in February or March or April of next spring, you are not doing yourselves a lot of favors, right? His base salary is $13 million, so that's what a team would be taking on. I don't know what team would want to pay a tight end $13 million. That is coming off supposedly, in this hypothetical, a bad 600-yard season. The dead cap hit is nearly $20 million, and the cap savings, $62,000. That's all. So I just don't see a way the Browns move on from Njoku. They restructured his contract, which raised future cap hits. You don't do that type of move and then move on from the guy just a season later. That is someone you see long term. So if Njoku does not have a tremendous year, I think he's staying in Cleveland pretty much no matter what, because what team wants to take on that base salary? Why would the Browns want to eat $19 million in dead cap hit with virtually no cap savings? This is just someone you're going to have to ride it out with if things don't pick up, but I truthfully do believe Njoku will have a better 2023 season. Mr. G, next one up on the show. I know you hate this, but now that the 53-man roster is basically out, can we get an updated record prediction and playoff berth prediction? So I do not like doing record predictions and whatnot because you have no idea who the starters are going to be for 17 games, but we are all guilty of it as fans and whatnot. We're always looking for record predictions. We always want to get some confirmation bias that other people out there are in belief of our team as well. So sure, why not? Let's look at my AFC playoff prediction. I've got the Chiefs being the 1 seed once again, 13-4. The Bengals came out of nowhere. The 49ers a few years ago came out of nowhere. The Rams kind of came out of nowhere. It happens more frequently than we believe. What about the Brownies going 12-5? They've got an elite roster. Don't sleep on the Browns. I've got the Dolphins going 12-5 as well. How about the Jags win the AFC South with 10 wins? The Ravens go 11-6 to get the best wild card spot. I think you could see the Bills regress a little bit this year. I feel like they've been staying stagnant, and if you're not moving forward in the NFL, you're moving backwards. And then the Bengals get the last playoff spot with 10 wins. Maybe they get off to a slow start as Joe Burrow works himself back from a calf injury. So there it is, my updated record and playoff predictions there, Mr. G. Dennis Fultz, next one up. What Brown do you think is going to underperform? Dennis, when I saw this question on the community tab, I thought it was one of the better questions because we're always trying to, pump our guys up, rah, all that good stuff, only talk about positive things. But inevitably, there are guys who just don't live up to the expectations, right? Guys that we get too bought in on the preseason hype, and the regular season performance doesn't match the preseason hype. So if I had an underperform candidate, I think maybe people are expecting a little bit too much out of the rookie DT Siaka Ika. For starters, I was not super stoked or crazy about this draft pick. I'm just not in love with defensive tackles that have no pass rush upside whatsoever, which, hey, it's okay if you want to be a tree stump nose tackle that just stops the run, but I don't think Ika is the best tree stump nose tackle in the game, or it doesn't have that great prototype. So for that reason, I wasn't super jazzed up about the selection, but Jim Schwartz knows a little bit more about defense than I do, so I'll take his word for it. But when it comes to him in his rookie season, I don't think he's going to have a true, I wouldn't say breakout year. You can't break out as a rookie, but I don't think he's going to be as big as a contributor maybe as some people think he's going to be. I think you'll see a better year out of Jordan Elliott this season than Siaka Ika in year one. So maybe a hot take, but I just don't think Ika's going to be this world-renowned run-stopping DT in year one. Ryan Chowdhury, what's going on, dude? Who will have a better year, DPJ or David Njoku? Good question, Ryan. I'm going to go with David Njoku, and here's my reasoning behind it. DPJ's going into a contract year. David Njoku just got a big contract extension not long ago. Who do you think the Browns are going to want to get the football a little bit more to? The guy who could be out the door in a few months, or the guy who got a big fat contract and they restructured it, which keeps him here long term? Something tells me that the higher-ups in the Paul DePodesta world are going to tell Stefanski, how about we look to 85 a little bit more? Now, here are their stats from last season, and this is no, slander against DPJ. I've always said if I see someone in a Donovan Peoples-Jones jersey, that guy fucks, that guy knows Browns football. But I just kind of connect the dots of contract year. The Browns are a little bit strapped for cash next year. I don't know if they'll be able to afford DPJ on the open market. So maybe there are some extra plays drawn up for David Njoku in the red zone. And so as a result, maybe he comes out a bit more favorable, especially with Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper in that wide receiver room. But who do you think gets more touchdowns in 2023? Donovan Peoples-Jones or David Njoku? The buzz throughout all of training camp was that Watson to 85 was a growing connection. I'm going to go with the Chief. Type in 85 down below. Give me your thoughts, though, in the comment section. Chubathon, what's going on, my man? I think we should sign another linebacker and cut Matthew Adams. Joe Schobert. We also don't want to risk Walker or Taki. So let's talk about Matthew Adams for a moment, because that's probably the most airtime he's gotten on the show since he signed with the Browns. He was not signed to be a starting defensive middle linebacker. He's on this team to play special teams. Some guys have roles. Some guys are not supposed to be big-time receivers, right? Even though they are receivers, that's not what they're on the roster for. Some guys are on there for special teams early on in their careers. Matthew Adams is here for special teams, which we can admit last year wasn't dreadful, but it never gave you much of a spark. So I understand that Joe Schobert, maybe in his heyday, is better than Matthew Adams at stopping the run, but I don't need Matthew Adams to stop the run. I need him to play special teams, and he's going to do that very well, and I'm happy with that. So I get that Adams might not be the best Walker or Taki replacement, but that's what I've got Tony Fields for, Jordan Kunashik when he comes back, and Diabate for. I need Adams to play special teams. That's it. We got LA Keith, Ohio coming in next. What has Jerome Ford done to warrant him an automatic RB2? I say we're not done looking for another proven vet. What has he done? Nothing to prove that he is an automatic RB2. But at the same time, who on that roster is an automatic RB2, right? Pierre Strong Jr. comes over from New England, and he could definitely push Jerome Ford for that RB2 job. But can we all just take a moment to realize we are arguing about the backup running back? When was the last time Browns fans got to argue about the backups, okay? Listen, we had never heard of Dearness Johnson until that big breakout game on Thursday Night Football against the Broncos. The point I'm trying to make here is you could line up any pro running back behind this offensive line, and they're going to look above average. So the Browns know that they don't need to go out and spend $5 to $6 million on Zeke or Dalvin Cook to be the RB2 when Jerome Ford for 5 times less behind that offensive line is going to put up very similar production. So I get that Jerome Ford has not proven anything on the field on Sundays to be an automatic RB2, but behind that O-line, you an RB2. I'm an RB2. Chipper's a freaking RB2. When you got Joel Petonio and Wyatt Teller moving bodies for you, anyone can be the RB2. 63, what's going on? Any chance Kareem Hunt comes back? I don't think so. No. Unless there's an injury that pops up, maybe then. But for now, I think Cleveland is content with Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, and Pierre Strong Jr. I can't completely eliminate a reunion, but Kareem Hunt last season, career low in rushing average and receiving average. The rumor out of Berea was that the Browns felt like he lost a step. There wasn't much league-wide. Well, the Saints put a little bit of interest out there on Kareem Hunt. Ultimately, he did not sign, though. I think for now, Kareem Hunt is either going to stay on the couch all year or maybe go to some other team if a midseason injury pops up. But if the Browns stay healthy at running back, I don't think they're going to bring him back. That will do it for us on today's show. We've got Chipper behind the camera. Chip, which card do you want to go with?
I'm going to go Ace of Hearts.
Ace of Hearts?
Ace of Hearts.
I like the confidence in that. Ace of Hearts. I'm going to go the opposite. 2 of Spades.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I see your Ace of Hearts, and I'll meet you at the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I think you're going to be wrong.
I'm going to 2 of Hearts.
Oh!
I've been on the 2 straight videos, I believe, where I am just off by 1 suit. What was the next card? Just so I know. Jack of Clubs. Who gives a shit? Okay, whatever. That will do it for us on today's show. We're going to sign off. We'll see everyone later with more Browns news and rumors.